Good morning, welcome to the channel. I'm Nate, the FitFutureMD. I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. Make sure you pick up the free fitness and nutrition guide in the description below if you are interested. Investing course coming soon. So this question comes from Mr. Kratz on Reddit. Thank you for the question, Mr. Kratz. And it's basically, why are my arms not growing? Right? So, in this video, I'm gonna talk about the principles of growth in general, and then specifically talk about arm growth and some of the techniques that you can use to try to grow your arms. Like I say, I personally don't have, the best genetics for arms, right? So my chest, back, legs or quads, butt will all grow at a faster and higher rate than my biceps and triceps and shoulders, right? So usually when people ask about stuff like this, they go to somebody that has good arm genetics, where they have, short tendons and, nice round muscle bellies and all that kind of stuff. So that's number one, is that you cannot get away from what your genetics are, right? So maybe go see what people with your genetics, what you would actually look like. So that's number one. Number two, let's say to gain muscle mass, you have to be in a caloric surplus, or have enough stored energy to put you in the surplus, right? So sometimes you can see where, somebody like myself will go from 315 to 275, and I'll start with, 191 pounds of muscle, and I'll end at 275 with, 195 pounds of muscle, right? So I actually lost weight but gained muscle mass, and that's because I have enough stored energy to create that caloric surplus for, those muscles to grow, right? So this age-old thing where you can't gain muscle mass and lose weight, that's not true, right? Now, most of the time you would not gain inches, right, on so say your bicep and tricep, your arms. You're not going to gain inches because you're going to be losing fat that's underneath the skin, right? So from 315 to 275, I went from 19 and a half, almost 20-inch arm to basically like a 18-inch arm, right? Even though I gained muscle mass during that time, right? So, but specifically, so say, I'm in a maintenance phase, or I'm cutting, I'm not bulking, and what would I do if I wanted specific body parts to grow versus other ones, right? So number one with arms, so I want to have a caloric surplus the day before I train my arms and the day of training my arms, right? So right now, specifically for me, this is one of my goals, is to make my arms and shoulders bigger. So, I look at the days of the week, it's like, well, what days of the week do we eat more food? And the truth on that is, we eat more food on like a Wednesday or a Saturday, right? So I've moved shoulder day to Thursday, right? So Wednesday I eat more food, Thursday I'm hitting shoulders, right? Make my shoulders bigger. Caloric surplus, right? But then I also moved bis and tris to Monday, right? So I'm taking that caloric surplus from the weekend and I'm hitting it on Monday, right? So then, well, what else did I change? Well, I put back on Tuesday. My back is already big, already looks good. You know, chest is on Wednesday. So before the caloric surplus, you want to grow the upper chest, right? And get that nice, you know, bodybuilding look that everybody wants, right? The aesthetic look. And, you know, so that's kind of the idea, right? Is to manipulate when you're eating your food around your training for the muscle that you want to gain muscle mass, right? All right, so, and the second thing is, so you got something called time under tension, right? So how long the muscle is under tension. So, you know, people will put like, oh, three sets, 12 reps, or 5 by 5 or whatever. Well, what really matters there is if you're trying to get something to grow, right, is how much time it took that muscle to lift the weight up and down, right? So if you're going in there, you're doing a 5 by 5 and you do it in 5 seconds, like there's not really that much, you move the weight, but there's not really that much time under tension for that muscle group, right? So what I do is I do like almost like a timing, right? So everything is up 1 second, down 2 seconds, right? So say you're doing a bicep curl, you know, fast up, slow down, fast up, slow down, right? So that's time under tension, and timing, pacing, right? So, and this is where the mind-muscle connection comes in, right? Because, you know, I've been doing it, you know, long enough now where it's not really me, I'm not even counting, it's just how I do the reps, right? And, you know, if you're training for different things, you're going to have, you know, different ways of training, right? So if you're training kind of for sports, explosiveness, you know, that's still training for explosiveness because you're going, right? But you're then going, so that's eccentric and concentric, right? So, and then the third thing is an isometric rep, basically, where, so you're doing bicep curls, you'll literally hold the bicep curl in one spot while you're doing the other side, and then do the same thing, right? And that, because they're, you know, you got concentric, eccentric, and isometric, right? So you want to hit all three so that you get the greatest stimulation of the muscles, right? So that goes from, you know, what to eat, and then how to train, and then lastly, right, you know, if you're really thinking about, you know, well, this part of my body is not as big as I want it to be, well, you really have to think about, you know, going back into a bulk, right? Because, you know, there's not but so long you can be under your calorie requirements until your body says, hey, you know, I got to get rid of this muscle, right? Like, I'm carrying too much around and we're not getting enough nutrients in the environment to keep this, right? And that does happen, right? So, like I say, I lost 30 pounds in 30 days, and you would think that me losing 30 pounds in 30 days, that I would actually lose a lot of muscle, and I actually didn't. I actually gained 4 pounds of muscle, right? So even though I was in a caloric deficit, my body still had enough stored nutrients to continue to gain muscle mass, or to hold on to muscle mass. You know, I also kept my protein really high, right? So I'm a 315 pound man. I'm sitting there doing 250 grams of protein a day, you know? and lowering carbs and lowering fat to hit my calories, right? So, you know, your body sees, oh, well, there's a crap ton of protein. You know, I may not need to take protein from my muscles if that's what's available in the environment. And then, you know, your body converts your fat storage into ketones and carbohydrates, you know, so that you can survive, right? Like I say, there's techniques to all this kind of stuff. Like I say, if you're in the growth phase, you know, you make a plan. You do the plan for 6 weeks minimum, and then see where you're at, right? Like, you know, look up these ways of lifting. Like I say, I prefer the 1 second, 2 second, you know, eccentric, you know, 1 second concentric, 2 second eccentric. And that's going to give you great pumps in the gym. That's going to give you the explosiveness you need in sports. And, you know, eventually it will give you the desired look that you're looking for, right? I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD. Hope this helped you guys. You know, let's get big while getting healthy. You know, make sure you pick up that free fitness and nutrition plan in the description below if you're interested. If you have any questions about it, make sure you email me at fitfuturemd@gmail.com. You know, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate everybody following along. Hope I'm helping you. I do all this to help people. You know, there's really no monetary gain to it, so it's really just to fulfill my purpose of helping people. So appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.